Hey guys, welcome once again to my channel. If today is your first time, you are welcome. Okay, so in today's video I'm just going to show you how to make this beautiful and gorgeous simple bag. And yeah, please, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please kindly do so. Subscribe, like this video and share with others. And also I have other amazing videos on my channel, so please check them out as well. And so let's get right into today's video. So these are the materials that I'll be using to make this video. We have 0.7 mm thread and size 8 mm beads. So you just take your thread as I'm doing, open it to have 2 edge, pick 4 beads just as I'm showing you, put them on one thread, let it go all the way down to the middle of the thread. Then you use the fourth one, which is the last one, you put on it and use the other thread to cross it. So after you cross it, you are going to get something like this. So to continue, open the thread, pick 3 beads just as I'm showing you, put one on each of the thread and then cross with the third one. So you pull it down to meet what you have done first, and you'll be getting something like this. So we are just going to continue with the second step. You pick 3, you put one on each thread, then you cross with the third one. So you are going to continue with this same process until you get your desired length, the size of the bag, how you want it to be big. So yeah. So with this particular one that I'm doing, the size is 18. Okay, it's 18. So this is 17. I'll be crossing on the 18th one. So we are going to 10. Okay, so if you want to 10, now you not put the bead on each thread, but you put all the 3 bead on one thread, then you cross the second thread with the last bead. So just as I'm doing, you can also see and do the same thing. So you put the 3 on one thread, then you cross with the third one. So you realize that your thread will turn to the other side, one side of the chain you started weaving. So now this will give you 18. So you are going to continue weaving alongside this chain. So if you want to start weaving alongside the chain, you take the thread that points to the top, then you put 3 beads on it just as I'm showing you, then you cross with the third one. So as you cross like this, you get a small loop which is starting another chain alongside the first chain. So you put the thread that is closer to the first chain you have weaved inside the next bead as I have just done. Then you continue weaving alongside. So just keep on watching carefully and you get it. So now if you want to turn, you realize that we are on the last bead on the chain, so we are going to turn to the other side. So you now put the bead on the thread that you usually use to put it. You put it on the other side, other thread that you don't normally put the bead on, and weave alongside. So you realize that the thread has turned to the next side for you to weave alongside it, just as I'm showing you. So you continue by putting the bead on the top thread, and then you cross with the third one, and you continue the same process we did for the second process, for the second chain. So you realize that the thread is very small, so we are just going to put it around, put it inside several beads, and just bring the two edges together so that we'll be able to tie it. So that's what I'm doing right now. So you realize that the two edges are at one point now, so I'll just give it a double tie, and I'll cut off the excess thread, and I'll cut another thread and put it inside. So just continue watching me and see how I add a thread when the first one I'm working with go finish. So you continue weaving alongside until you get your desired length. So mine here is 6. So it's 6 by 18 now. Okay, as I'm counting, it's 6 by 18. So now I'll be going ahead to do the shape. So I'll start from the beginning of where the thread is and weave to the fifth one. So this is 18 length. Okay, so one side I'll weave from the first bead to the fifth one in the middle, and I'll go and start from the other end and weave from the first bead at the other end to the middle of the fifth one. So just continue watching this and you understand what I mean. So as I said, I'll end on the fifth one. As you can see, I'll be ending from there and I'll weave back to the first bead. So just continue watching me. So that is 4. I'll weave the fifth one, then I'll turn back to weave to the first one. So just continue watching this and you get it. So this is 5. I'll weave back to it. So as you see, I've turned the work. I'll take the top thread, that will be my top thread, and put 3 beads on it and cross with the third one and weave back to where I start the fifth one from. So we are going to turn and weave on top again. So you use the bead on your right hand, the thread on your right hand, and put all the 2 beads on it and cross with the second one and weave back to where you start the 5 from. So as I'm showing you, just continue the same way as I'm doing. So that is the last one. You realize that when we start the weaving of the 5 from the end of the mat to the fifth one, we weave a 3-step taller. Okay, just as you can see, 3 steps taller than the main mat. So we'll be doing the same thing at the other end of it. So I'll just end this side with the thread. As you can see, the thread is also almost finished. So you just end it, pass it through several beads and just give it a double tie and cut the excess thread off and take a new thread and move to the other end of it and weave the same 5 from the end of the other side to the fifth one in the middle and weave it 3 steps ahead, just as we did on this side. I hope you get it. So we are going to start from here and end on the last end and weave 3 steps ahead, just we did at the other side. So as you can see, I picked a different or a new thread, and I'll start from the fifth one in the middle and weave to the other end of it. So you take the thread that is outside the mat you have weave and weave outside or towards yourself. You weave to the other end of what you just did at the you do the same as what you have done at the other side. So you weave towards yourself 3 times step ahead. So just continue watching me. I hope you get it. So I'm just doing the same thing I have done at the other side. As you can see, you just weave 3 steps ahead of the first mat you did and just get the same as you get at the other side. So that's what I'm basically doing. So now that we are done with the 3 steps weaving up, we just weave from the top there to the other side of it. Please just watch what I'm doing because I don't know how to explain it, but I'm sure as I'm showing you in the video, you'll be able to do it. So just watch carefully and you'll get it. So after you finish with the last step on the other side, what we'll do is that we are going to make chain to cover up the space we left in the middle. Okay, so as I'm showing you now, you open your thread and now you'll be using 3 beads. You put one on each thread and cross with the third one. So you make sure you weave a chain long like the space that is in the middle there. Okay, so you weave it up to the longer as the space in the middle there before you continue on the other side. So the middle place that we'll be using as the handle is 8. Okay, so you have to make sure that the chain you are weaving is 8 long chain. Okay, so after making the 8th one, then you put the thread inside the 9th one, which is on the other side of the bead, just as I'm doing. Then you continue with 2 bead, which you put all on the thread and cross with the 3rd one, just as I'm doing. Now just continue with weaving to the end of the work you are doing. Okay, just make sure you end it just as I'm showing you, so watch carefully. So now we are at the end of the work, so and the thread that is left is very small, so I'm just passing it through the bead, which is the work I've done, and I'll tie it after I get the two edges coming together. So our work now is 18 by 10. Okay, so for all that we have done so far is 18 by 10, and we created a handle side. So we are now going to give a shape at the down as I'm showing you. So I'll show you the same way, or I'll show you how to go about it. So to begin, you are not going to start from the first bead, but you start from the second one and weave to the last but one bead. So continue watching and I'll show you, or you'll see how I've done it. So when you take the new thread and put inside the second bead, you take the thread that is towards the outside to your left. Okay, then you put 3 beads on it and cross with the third one. So we are going to continue just as our normal weaving to the last but one bead. Okay, so just continue watching me as I do so. So now you are just going to continue with 2 bead and cross with the second one until you get to the last but one bead. So continue weaving until you get to the last but one bead as I'm showing you right now. Not the last one, but last but one bead. So as I've said, we are going to end on the last but one bead. Okay, so now we are on the last but one bead, but because our thread is long, I'm going to pass it through the few beads and make sure that I get to the second bead on the one we just weaved. Okay, so pass your thread to the second bead, not the first bead on the last chain that we have weaved on the work. Okay, and make sure that it has come out for you to start from the second but one bead there and weave to the last but one bead at the other end. I don't know if you have gotten what I mean, but please continue watching me and you see where I start from, and you also make sure you also start from there. Okay, so you realize that the thread is out from the second bead, not the first one. Okay, Okay, so I'm just going to weave to the last but one bead, but before that I like to weave towards myself, so I flip over my wig and I'll take the outer thread and put 3 beads on it. Okay, just as I'm doing, and cross with the second one and cross with the third one, sorry. So you realize that there is a shape forming over there, so I'll continue weaving alongside till I get to the last but one bead that is closer to me. So to continue, you are only going to use 2 bead. You pick 2 and cross with the second one. So you are going to continue the same process till you get to your last but one bead. So you realize that when we end on the last but one bead, there is a shape forming there, just as it has formed at the other side too. So now the thread is short end. I'll just pass the thread through several beads and make sure the 2 edges come together, and I'll give it a double tie, and then we continue. Okay. So since the last thread we use is finished, I just picked another thread and I put it inside where I'm starting from, which is the second bead. Okay, so as you put it inside, pull the thread and make sure the edges are equal. Then you take the thread that is directly to the opposite of the work you are doing. You put 3 beads on it and cross with the third one. So after that, you are going to continue with 2 beads. So you put 2 beads on the thread and cross with the second one and weave down to this last but one bead, just as we have been doing before. So continue watching and you'll get it. So we are ending on the last but one, just as I'm showing you, not the last one, but last but one bead. So we are ending it on it here. Okay, so you realize that the shape we created at the other end is also forming at the last end here. So just as we have been doing, the thread is long, so you pass it through the beads to make sure it's come out from the second bead on the lane you want to continue weaving from. So not the first one but the second one. Then you continue weaving to the last but one bead, just as we have been doing for all this while creating the shape. Okay, so you continue the same thing. So you realize that the thread is out from the second bead, so you are just going to continue weaving to the last but one bead, as I've said. So I'm just passing the thread to several beads so that the two thread can come together for me to tie it. Okay, so that's what I'm just doing, and that is the last step we have created. So now you have to do the same thing too. Okay, so as you can see, the one I'm holding in my hand, I've completed that one. So how we did and do the handle this way, I'm going to show you in part 2 of this video. Okay, so please stay connected and watch the part 2 as well. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video up to this point, and please, because it's very long and I have to be detailed in it, and I have to split the video into 2 parts. Okay, so this is part 1. I'll be posting part 2 the next week. Okay, so kindly bear with me and watch the part 2 as well. When I upload it, I'll put the link of the part 2 in the description box and the comment section of this part 1. And remember, this is the goal we are going for. This is the final look and work we are going for. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.